You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in at Watson's Playbook episode 45. I am riding solo. It's been a little while since I've rode solo on this podcast. We got a good show for you today. We got the review of the college admissions scandal. It's called Operation Varsity Blues on Netflix. It's a documentary. Got a couple headlines for you, and of course, what's in my locker. Guys, I hope you've had a fantastic week. It is a Tuesday. And the week has just begun, so we're almost halfway there, halfway to that weekend. So let me go ahead and jump into it. So the Operation Varsity Blues was this scandal that happened a couple years ago about college admissions, and it was a guy named Rick Singer who masterminded the entire scam. And Rick Singer was a guy. This whole scandal is basically rich folk and celebrities and CEOs of companies paid Rick Singer to get his kids into a certain school, whether it be a prestigious, they talk about the word prestigious school as USC and why am I drawing a blank? Purdue and Stanford and Harvard and these names, these prestigious schools. And Rick Singer would get the coaching or maybe from the selling team or maybe from the water polo team, and they would get these kids into these schools on the team, maybe the soccer team, but they really weren't playing these sports. They really didn't get an athletic scholarship to go there, and they shouldn't even be there. But because their parents paid Rick Singer and these donations came in, their kids got to go to USC. They attended school and everything. It's been a big scandal, and this happened, and this all broke through in 2018, I believe it was. So Rick Singer, he started off. It talks about him, and it starts off. So this whole documentary is done on FBI file tapes and recordings. So they hire these actors to play this whole documentary. But so Rick Singer talks about how he grew up and he got into coaching, and he coached basketball, and he coached up his way in college, and he learned his knowledge about admissions and about where these recruits come from and things like that right there. And then it kind of made it seem like he had a anger type of issue. He was yelling at kids, and the coaching didn't work out for him. So then he went on and started a consulting business called the Singer Group, where he basically started his scandaling and started saying that he could get your kids and help them go from high school, kind of like a life coach program, to get them into college. So, and that seems, okay, maybe that's legit, right? So they think it started all in 2011. Some people think it started a little earlier than that, 2011. He's been doing it since 2011. And we're talking about millions of dollars here. We're not talking about, little $200,000 donations. We're talking about, $3 million, $1.5 million. We're talking about a lot of money that he's paying to get these kids into schools, and he would take that money and donate them to the schools. Hey, here's a check for $500, or $10,000 to the selling program, and this and that. So They explain the front door and the back door techniques is what they call it. The front door technique is your kid works hard and they get accepted by the school to go there. That is the front door. They have no help whatsoever. They get to do scholarship and they get to go to these prestigious schools. The back door is making that your parents can make a large donation to the school, millions and millions of dollars, and it might get you in. It's not a guarantee. Well, Rick Singer invented the side door, and that's where instead of paying so many millions, 30, 20, 15, whatever, $100 million, $50 million, whatever that amount was, you would pay $1 million or $3 million, and two CEOs of companies and two actresses and movie stars. That's not a lot of money, right? Depending on your success and how famous you are, that's not a lot of money. Now, to us regular folks, that is a lot of money. So it said Senior got paid $25 million between 2011 and 2018 to bribe coaches to lie to keep these kids in college. They would Photoshop their heads on athlete bodies in water polo and the sailing team. They couldn't get him in, on the football scholarship because they would be obviously more in the spotlight. But no one knows the road team of USC or the water polo team. No one's going to really, not that they don't care, but they're not going to notice that, hey, you've never been on part of the team, so what's going on here, and maybe raise some red flags. They talk about Olivia Jade. Now, Olivia Jade is Lori Loughlin's kid, and Lori is known for the Full House as Aunt Becky. She's one of the most famous ones that got caught up in this, and her dad is a famous fashion designer. So people talk about privilege, and people have certain privileges and other people don't. You can think what you want to think, but we can all agree on that. If you're rich, you have more privilege than anybody else. You can pay. The world works with money, and the more money you have, you can get away with more things. You can pay your way out. You can pay your way for a better life. You can do this. You can do that. And that's exactly what they were trying to do for the kid. Olivia, she talked about, she had a daily blog where she blogged all the time, and they wanted her to go to USC, so they paid, and they put her on the rowing team. And they put her sister too, I believe, on the rowing team. And the high school, first of all, there's a 13% approval rate at USC, so it's an extremely hard school to get into. It's very prestigious, right? So their two sisters make it, right? Their two kids make it, and that brings a red flag to the counselor at the high school, saying, "Hey, you were never a part of the rowing team. You were never, you never did any of this. This is weird. Why is this happening?" He brought up some questions. They talk about how Lori Loughlin, or the dad, goes into the counselor's office and starts screaming and goes off on the counselor. And they're like, Rick Singer gets a phone call, and they tell him, "Hey, look, we can't be having this, or it's going to blow up the whole operation." And there's a lady that is head of all athletics there. Forget her name, but she on USC seemed like she was in on it. These schools know what's going on, and these schools don't say anything because that money keeps coming in, right? The money keeps coming in. It talks about how they don't want to know where it came from or how it got there. They just take it and they cash the check because the world's run by money, and they don't care how they got it. And they talk about how at Yale, the selling coach, I believe it was Yale, the selling coach, the administrator knew who Rick Singer was, so they knew what was going on, but they're not going to get pinned for any of this. And when we go talk about Olivia Jade, back to her, she's blogging and talking about how she wants to drop out of high school and she hates school. And how does this teen that seems unmotivated and doesn't like school, not unmotivated, but doesn't like school, how does she get into USC, right? It's like, that makes no sense whatsoever. So then they go on to talk about how these kids get in, and there's a guy that his name is Mark Riddle. He takes the tests for these kids. So these kids go to take the ACTs, the SATs to get into schools. And this guy named Mark Riddle acts to be like a teacher who's watching them take the test. They turn it into him. So the kid thinks that they're taking the test. He then does take the test for them and gets whatever score they want. Now, this guy, they said he's just super smart and can get whatever score they want. He doesn't have all the answers, but that's how smart he is. So he takes the test. These kids get the test results, and they think they're a genius. They think, man, I've scored really high. I can get into this school now. And these kids think that they actually got in by themselves. And they talk about how it's been proven that rich families get higher scores on ACT tests, and they have the money to spend on tutoring. And through all the advantages that they have, they can supply their children that most people can't. They still decided that they were going to cheat their way in and take a spot from a kid that actually probably deserved it. This whole thing was derailed because a person was arrested and gave up information. That's it. That's what took the whole thing down. They started just naming names and dropping information and talking about money coming in here and money coming in there. And Rick Singer, gets audited, and he says he's telling people, he calls up the people, the parents that did this whole thing. They're like, oh, I don't want anything to happen to me. Hopefully, they know it's wrong, and it's in a way they know they could be in trouble, but they still do it anyways, and they continue to do it. So he tells them, I'm just going to tell them that your money was a donation. And that's what he tried to make it seem as, this is not money for payment. This is donations to the school. But there was a law against all of this stuff, and especially about paying a spot on a team for someone who doesn't even go there. That is illegal, or who doesn't even play on the team. That is actually illegal. They were talking about how Rudy Meredith took bribes to get kids into Yale under his soccer scholarship. When they got a hold of him, he quickly introduced the FBI to Singer, and it was all downhill from there. They brought in Singer, and he basically threw them all under the bus to save his own skin. It was either him go to jail or him help them out. He was going to look like to a meeting, and he pulled up to the fancy hotel room, and it ended up being the FBI, and they explained everything to him. And he goes and gets all of these parents that paid money to do this, that he worked with, to rat them out, so they can serve their fines and their penalties and their jail time and things like that. And so Rick Singer is right now awaiting trial for his demise until they get everybody else taken care of. Rick Singer's out there running free and doing what he does. Now, I didn't write the guy's name down on the show. There's a poor guy in here. He was a selling coach for Yale, I believe it was, and he talks about how he didn't agree to any of this, right? It talks about how he meets Singer, and Singer says, hey, I got, this is what's going on. Maybe you can help us get this girl into school under a soccer program. And he's like, and the guy's like, I can't do any of this. Like, I don't, maybe I can introduce her to someone. So he introduced her to someone, and then Rick Singer calls us, hey, that girl got in, right? That girl got in. I'm going to send you a donation of $10,000 to the selling program for all that you did for this girl. And he's like, well, I really didn't do anything. So a check showed up $10,000 because he took that money, even though he didn't know what was going on. Because he took that money, then he is then guilty of he took that money, and he took another donation from Rick Singer later on, not knowing why. It was just one of those, hey, here's some money for the selling program. It's a donation, and wrote him a check. really know and understand what was happening with the whole illegal part of it. And you feel bad for the guy because you could tell he actually cared. And that's one thing, when they sentenced this guy, they gave him no jail time. It was probation at home because the judge said he actually cared about the kids. He actually cared about his job and actually cared for that. You could see that. And this guy seemed like a nice guy, just got caught up in the things. So the Singer side door has been closed permanently, but the back door remains open. So if the back door into colleges, if your family's rich, they can pay a big amount of money still and get you into school if the school accepts you. So that's a little iffy. And the question that I ask myself is, first, at what dollar amount are you willing to change your ethics, right? I think with these people that grow up famous and rich and they make all the money in the world, they think that paying for things can make their life better, right? They pay for this, they pay for that. This can get me out of maybe this. If I'm doing something shady, I pay this person off. I'm good to go. I can get out of things with the more money I have, and I think we see that every day, and we see that that happens a lot. So don't be naive about that. And so when they have these kids, and these kids are out there doing whatever they're doing, they're about to graduate high school, and they want them to have a better future. These families, they very wealthy. They think that money can solve all their issues, and maybe they thought, hey, maybe I can get my kid, into this prestigious school to help him out with his success in life. Even though the money they have could do that for them in a different way. They don't have to go to school. They don't have to cheat to get in and take a spot from someone else. They can do other things if their kid's not motivated to go to college, right? Maybe they wanted their kids to feel like they had their own success instead of relying on their parents' fame and fortune. Maybe that was something. And everybody as a parent wants their kids to succeed no matter where you come from, right? You want your kids to have a better life than you did, and you try to provide that better life for them. That goes for most parents, and no matter which way in life you grew up, poor, rich, in between, blue collar, whatever, right? And I have 4 girls. I want my kids to grow up and be successful, right? I mean, that's just common sense. But it's like, at what dollar amount are you willing to change your ethics? What dollar amount are you willing to give your kid an advantage that might be illegal to help them out? After what, you had that question before. How far would I go for my kid? And I would probably go really, really far for my kid. But I don't think I'm breaking the law. I don't think I'm paying their way in for something that they didn't earn, they didn't deserve. That they Olivia J talked about wanting to drop out of school, and her mom said no. So I mean, this kid doesn't even want to go to high school. What makes you think she's going to want to go to school, to college? And you can go, and that's the thing too. They talk about the word prestige, and you can go to different schools and get the same education. You can, maybe even better than going to Yale or Stanford or Harvard or USC. But it's that name when you get that degree with the USC emblem on it, right? Hey, I went to USC. It looks better. It looks more prestigious. So that's that's why you want your kids to get in there. Now it's very expensive, but like I said, these guys have all the money in the world to do that. They knew it was wrong. They still did it, and they get their punishments, and I'm glad they did. They took a spot from a hardworking kid away. It's very limited on who gets in these schools, these high prestigious schools. Like I said, 13% or 12% from USC. That's not a lot. And if your kid out there has been working their butt off and through school and taking the AP classes and trying to get into a school like that, and she gets denied, but here's a rich kid that doesn't even want to go to school, who didn't do the hard work to get in there, just gets put in there because their family has money. And that's the advantages in life they have when you're rich. You can do those types of things. So it's a pretty interesting watch if you want to know more about it, what went into it, how it was all set up. And there was a bunch of people that got caught up for doing this, and I think still more to come probably. But these people. There's people that own wineries out in California, and there's Lori Laughlin, and there's CEOs of companies, and they talk about even in the investigation, they know what they're doing is wrong, and they don't want to get if I get caught, it's going to be such an embarrassment. Well, then why are you doing it? And I get it, you want your kids to be successful, but look, if I was filthy rich, like they are. If your kid didn't want to go to college, we'll help them out some other way. Set up their own, the Kardashians' kids. They all have a makeup brand or whatever. They're famous, right? Lori Laughlin's kids could be famous. She's a blogger. She could continue to blog and come up with different things. Use your money to set them up in different ways than providing an advantage for them. They've already got all the advantages in the world about growing up with a lot of money. Not saying that's not earned through their parents' hard work, but those are advantages that most of us don't have. So if you're more interested in the story, go watch it. It's called Operation Varsity Blues on Netflix. That will be the review. We're about to jump into the headlines real quick. The 49ers drop a blockbuster trade. So the 49ers trade for the Dolphins' third pick in the draft, and the 49ers come out and said, look, we have Jimmy Garoppolo. We want Jimmy Garoppolo to be here and be our quarterback, but we are going to draft our future quarterback. So that makes Jimmy Garoppolo a lame duck. They talked about it. He said he was really frustrated with it. And look, the 49ers come out and have been really open to what's going on and how they feel and how Jimmy feels. So Jimmy's going to be basically a lame duck coach. We'll see who they draft, but they will draft a quarterback in this draft and see what their future is. But Miami turns around with the 12th pick and that they got from the 49ers, and they trade that to the Eagles for the 6th round pick. They traded that and some more. They moved up to the 6th round pick. So they moved down to the 3rd, and then they moved back up into the 6th. So they got draft capital, and they stay in the top 10. They set themselves up very well in the future. The Miami Dolphins, they have draft capital the next 3 years to really set their team up for success. They got to figure out if Tua is who they think he can be. Figure out if they're the quarterback. They got a good defense. This helps them out a lot. And then the Eagles moving down is a little interesting to me. They did get more draft picks, and next year I think they're going to have 3 first-round draft picks. So that is fine if there's a guy I think they can find later on. But I thought they might have wanted a weapon to help out Jalen Hurts and Jamar Chase there at number 6. May have still been on the board. So we'll see what happens with them, but they set themselves up good for the future as well, and they need a lot of help. NBA free agent deadline here happened not too long ago last week. Like I talked about last week, the Lakers did get Andre Drummond after he's bought out. The Magic traded away any talent they had. They sent Gordon to the Nuggets, Fournier to the Celtics, and Nikola Vukovic, I can't even say that name. Sorry, sent them all the way, and I guess they're up for another rebuild. They're not a very good team, but the talent that they had was decent. Those 3 players will go help out other teams. The Mavs add J.J. Redick as a good 3-point shooter. That when we talk about the Mavericks, we talk about guys missing wide open threes and not helping out Luka. J.J. Redick has been a good 3-point shooter. Now he has been injured this year. He's getting older, and this is the worst 3-point percentage he's had in his career. But hopefully he comes back from injury and is able to light it from 3-point range. That'll help them out going forward. The Heat they trade for Oladipo. Now Oladipo is going there after the season anyways. They traded him and got a couple players back, but not much for him because if they didn't trade for him, they wouldn't get anything back, and he'd be gone next year. The Nets add Blake Griffin and Aldridge. They're kind of loading up. This team is stacked. They got Andre Jordan there too. Plus, you obviously know the 3 stars they got, so they're trying to stack it up, and it looks to be an unfair advantage to them. But we'll see what happens in the playoffs when the Lakers get healthy. I still think they're the best team in the West, when they're healthy. That could be a while. LeBron James, I think, is out for another 3 weeks. So I'm hoping that they don't fall too far, maybe 7th seed, 6th seed type area. While the NFL or the NHL bans a referee, I don't know if you heard this the other day, they banned a ref for life. They basically fired him because he was caught on a live microphone saying that he said it wasn't much, but I wanted to give the Predators a penalty early. Basically, giving a penalty for nothing. They said it was kind of a makeup call, and makeup calls happen. And I'm fine with makeup calls happening. If you make a call and it was kind of questionable, turn around and make it right. So later on in the game, don't do it in the fourth quarter or the very last play of the game. But, makeup calls happen. And to sit here and think that they don't is a little naive. But they do happen. I'm fine with them happening. If the guy makes a call and it's like, okay, you see the Jumbotron, maybe I messed up on that. Hey, a couple plays later, throw a penalty on the other team. Not saying it's right. It happens. I understand it. It's human nature. It's part of human nature in the game of any sport. But this referee was caught on a live mic, and you cannot say that. You cannot make it think that to question the integrity of the game. He was banned for life. He was going to retire in a couple months anyways. But that happened in the NHL, and I find it pretty interesting. Reports broke that Deshaun Watson reported to be deleting Instagram messages. And when you first think about someone deleting messages, it makes you think they're hiding something, right? It's not a good look for Deshaun Watson. Now, whether this happened or not, I don't know. And my biggest question is, if these women, okay, if they have messages from Deshaun Watson and they have the text and they have the Instagram messages, where are the screenshots at? You think there would be screenshotting these messages? You think there would be leaks? You think TMZ would be out there leaking this information? With the world we live in with technology, it's easy to take a screenshot. I'm going to share this with somebody. Maybe the lawyer told them don't do any of that. But in this day's age, it's interesting to me that nothing has come out about it. And if there is text about it and stuff like that, when it goes to court, we will find out. We'll figure out what they say that's going to come out all in the wash in the end. Deshaun Watson reported that he did have these women sign a paper that says they cannot talk about this. And at first I thought, that's weird. Why would you need that why would you need that? It sounds a little sketchy, but someone changed my mind on that. And I think it's not so sketchy anymore, because if you're Deshaun Watson going out anywhere, doing anything with anybody, or famous, whatever it is, you kind of want that non-disclosure agreement on anything that says, hey, I'm not here. We never met. This didn't happen. You can't talk about it. And I understand it from the aspect of it. And it made me go, okay, I kind of understand a little bit better. But this all seems a little shady. It all seems like a lot of women. I think 2 more have actually come out and actually filed charges against Deshaun Watson. So this story is far from over. Deshaun Watson, I don't think anybody's going to trade for him. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I don't know where it goes from here, and they're still lingering on if he's going to sit out this season. I believe he will. I believe he will, but is he going to turn down $20 million? So this is an ongoing story that will continue at least until the season starts, and we'll go on from there about whether he shows up to training, whether he shows up to a game, whether this or that. Does he get arrested? Does he go to – this is eventually, I think, going to be turned into a criminal case. So we'll see what happens all with that. All right, guys, it's a pretty short episode this week as I'm going solo. But in my locker this week, so this is the last week of work until vacation. So I'm looking forward to getting this week done. Now, usually when that happens, usually when that happens, this week takes the longest, right? I'll break down at work. My truck will break down, and then it will be a long, long week. And it's been okay so far this week. with everything. So I'm just ready for it to be over. And I'm thinking to myself, after this week, I have 15 days off from both jobs I work in a row, and it's going to be freaking fantastic. I can't tell you how excited I am to be with my family and do the things we're going to do. Now, we're not going to go anywhere special or do anything amazing. Well, we are doing one thing. Between the week, on the weekend, we're dropping my kids off at my brother-in-law's house so we can go and stay in a hotel for 2 nights. That's going to be amazing. We usually do that on our anniversary. We'll stay in one night, and one night's just not enough. By the time you get the kids over to whoever's watching them, by the time you check into your hotel, you have one night of relaxation, and then you're out by 11 a.m. the next morning, and it didn't feel like you got the rest that you needed. So we're doing 2 weeks or 2 nights in between on the weekend, so that's going to be fantastic. These next 2 weeks, we are going to be packing up the house, getting it ready. We got our closing day of May 20th. We're going to be packing up everything that we need to do, throwing out a bunch of bulk trash, and getting ready hopefully to move into our new house, and that's fantastic. Last week I got a promotion at work, and it's kind of a promotion. I got a different position, and I drive for Waste Connections. I pick up front load trash for businesses, and I got offered a swing driver position. So I decided to take it. It's more money. It's going to be longer hours. It's going to be very frustrating in the very beginning until I get to learn all the routes, because I pick up. I'll cover everyone's vacation. When they go on vacation, I'll come in and run that route for them. So it's a little going to be stressful at first, but hopefully I can get into it and figure it out pretty quickly. So that's exciting with pay raise. So lots going on here on my side. We got packing, we got the pay raise. I'm just trying to get through each day this week. I can be off after this Saturday, start Easter with my girls, and then have a beautiful 15 days off. Don't worry. Watson's Play will still be going on. Jeff's been very, very busy with what's in his locker this week. I guess I could talk a little bit about that. I don't know the whole deal, but he's got a very busy project he's working on right now. He's extremely busy. That's why he couldn't come on here tonight and be on the show. So we hope that he's doing good. And guys, if you want to reach out to me, I promise I'm here for you. I'm here for you. If you want to talk about, it doesn't have to be about sports. It can be about anything. If you want to talk about sports, great. If you want to talk about anything that I've said in these comments, in these shows, awesome. If you just want a shoulder to lean on and someone to talk to, I'm here for you guys. You can email me at watsonsplaybook@gmail.com. Send me an email. I will reply to you. I want to thank those that take time out of their day to listen to the show. This is going to be a shorter episode this week, but that's okay with me, and maybe okay with you, depending on how long you want these to go. But guys, I hope you have a fantastic week. Reach out to us on Facebook at Watson's Playbook. We're on it. We got a YouTube channel right now, Watson's Playbook. Got a couple episodes there that we've been doing. So we're hoping to get that back into full swing pretty soon. So we're doing things here at Watson's Playbook. Hopefully you like them and continue to listen and share the show, please. We highly recommend or highly hope that you share the show. But all right, guys, God bless you. Have a great and fantastic week, and take care.